When the power goes out, geography decides who struggles first. Some U.S. states don't just lose electricity, they turn into traps. Here are 7 places where grid failure hits harder than most people realize. This isn't about blaming states or people, it's about infrastructure reality. Heat, cold, water, population density, and distance all decide how dangerous a blackout becomes. If you live in one of these states, you don't need to panic, you need to prepare differently. Grid failure isn't equal. The same outage can be an inconvenience in one state and a crisis in another. First up, state number 1, Arizona. The trap here is simple and brutal: extreme heat. In a state where air conditioning is a life support system, a blackout is a countdown. There's limited natural cooling in the desert landscape, so what fails first? Indoor temperature control. Your home can become an oven in hours. Then medical devices that rely on power. And finally, sleep. The nights don't offer enough relief, and exhaustion compounds the danger. Just last year, Phoenix saw over 30 consecutive days above 110 degrees. Imagine that with no AC. Residents must master daytime heat avoidance, have night cooling strategies ready, and plan with water as their absolute first priority. In heat states, grid failure becomes a medical emergency fast. State number 2, Texas. The trap in Texas is its independence and its extremes. It operates on its own isolated power grid, ERCOT, which means it can't easily borrow power from other states in a crisis. This, combined with a massive, spread-out population and vulnerability to both crushing heat and Arctic cold, creates a unique risk. We all saw it during Winter Storm Uri in 2021. What fails first? In winter, it's heating. Millions were left in the freezing dark. And when the power goes, so do the water systems, leading to burst pipes and no clean water. Preparation here means prioritizing home insulation over just owning a generator. It means serious freeze preparedness and storing multiple days' worth of water. Texas doesn't fail often, but when it does, it fails big. If this kind of practical breakdown helps you think clearly instead of panic, follow this podcast. We focus on how systems actually fail, not headlines. Now, state number 3, California. Here, the trap is density and dependence. Dense urban populations in cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco rely on complex systems that are fragile. The state already deals with rolling blackouts, often to prevent wildfires, and its water supply is completely dependent on electric pumps to move it across the state and up into buildings. So what fails first? Elevators, trapping people in high-rises, water pressure, leaving upper floors dry, and food access as grocery stores lose refrigeration and payment systems in a matter of hours. Residents need apartment-specific prep, water storage that goes well beyond the minimums, and a real plan for dealing with stairs and limited mobility. Density turns outages into stress multipliers. State number 4, Florida. The trap in Florida is heat plus humidity, a relentless combination, made worse by the constant threat of hurricanes on flat terrain. Dry heat is one thing, humid heat is another. Your body can't cool itself effectively through sweat. When a hurricane knocks out the power, what fails first is cooling. The heat index becomes dangerous almost immediately. Then comes rapid food spoilage in the tropical warmth. And finally, sanitation, as water and sewage systems fail, often in flooded areas. Residents need no-power cooling plans, like battery fans and evaporative cooling techniques. They need strategies to replace ice for food and medicine, and a serious plan for hygiene. Humidity makes outages harder to survive than dry heat. State number 5, New York. The trap is vertical. In a place like New York City, life is stacked. It depends on elevators and subways. When the grid goes down, the entire city grinds to a halt. What fails first isn't a thing, it's an action, movement. Elevators stop, subways freeze,
High-rise buildings lose water on the upper floors because the pumps are electric, and emergency response time skyrockets as streets get gridlocked. For residents, this means stair readiness, being physically able to handle dozens of flights. It means robust light and battery planning, and it means having the discipline to shelter in place because going anywhere becomes nearly impossible. Cities don't collapse, they stall. State number 6, Alaska. The trap here is the inverse of Arizona: extreme cold and profound isolation. With long resupply timelines, communities can be cut off for weeks. What fails first is heating. Without it, survival is measured in hours. Then fuel access, as delivery chains break and local supplies dwindle. And finally, emergency aid, which can be delayed for days by weather and distance. Alaskans must prioritize heat retention, insulation, sealing drafts, creating one small warm room over just heat generation. It requires disciplined fuel rationing and redundant layers of insulation for the home and the body. In cold states, outages are measured in hours, not days. And finally, Louisiana. Louisiana's trap is the compound disaster. It's a convergence of flooding risk from its low-lying terrain, the same oppressive heat and humidity as Florida, and infrastructure that is constantly battered by storms. When the grid fails here, it's rarely the only thing that fails. What goes first is power, often taken out by a hurricane, but that's just the trigger. Sanitation systems and clean water access fail almost immediately after, especially with flooding that contaminates everything. Residents must have flood-aware sheltering plans, knowing where the high ground is. They need to store essential supplies in elevated locations, and they must be ready to purify their own water. Water turns outages into compound disasters. These states aren't dangerous because of people, they're dangerous because of dependencies. The more your body relies on electricity to stay normal, the faster trouble starts. So how do you prepare if you live in one of these trap states? You focus on the core vulnerabilities. Focus on temperature control, passive ways to stay cool or warm. Focus on water access, storing and purifying it. And focus on reduced movement, planning to stay put, stay safe, and stay boring until the system comes back online. You don't prep harder, you prep smarter. Grid failure doesn't hit every place the same way. If you understand how your state turns outages into traps, you can work around the risk instead of being surprised by it. Survival starts with knowing where you stand.